Adding rational numbers. Definitions. A rational number is any number that can be written as a quotient of two integers. That is, it can be written as a fraction or a ratio. Integers are positive whole numbers and their opposites. For example, 3 and -3, 24 and -24. The opposite of 0 is 0. Negative numbers are numbers with a value less than 0, and you will see this abbreviation with the subtraction sign and VE that I will use for negative. Positive numbers are numbers with a value greater than 0, and similarly we have the addition sign with VE for the abbreviation for positive. Note, 0 is neither positive or negative. A sum is the result of addition, and the absolute value is the distance from 0 on a number line. For example, if you see these two lines outside of a number, on either side of a number, that represents the absolute value of that number. So the absolute value of -3 is 3 because -3 is 1, 2, 3 spaces from 0 on a number line. Adding rational numbers, key concepts. Firstly, the sum of two positive integers is positive. A positive plus a positive equals a positive. Number 2, the sum of two negative integers is negative. Negative plus negative equals negative. Number 3, when adding integers with different signs, there are 3 steps that you need to follow. First, you're going to find the absolute values of the integers. Then you're going to subtract those absolute values. And thirdly, you're going to assign the sum the sign of the integer with the greater absolute value. Adding rational numbers with the same sign. Number 1, find -3 plus -2. So -3 and -2 are both negative numbers, so they have the same sign. And use a number line. So here we have our number line. We're starting at 0 and we're going to get to -3. I like to use this little person to illustrate because I am a visual person, and sometimes I actually get up and be that person because I'm a kinesthetic learner as well. So we're starting at 0 and we're going to get to -3. So we're going to walk backwards 1, 2, 3 to -3. Then we're adding -2. Now because we're adding, we're going to stay facing the same way. So we're adding -2, 1, 2, and we get to -5. So -3 plus -2 equals -5. Second one, 9 plus 18. So we've got our man, we're walking to 9. Then we're adding, so we're going to stay facing the same direction, and we're adding a positive 18. So we're going to move in the positive direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and we land on 27. So 9 plus 18 is 27. This is an example of positive plus positive equals positive. That should be a big clue. When you're adding two positive numbers, you should know that the answer will end up as positive. Number 3, -3 plus -7. In this example and this one as well, you'll see these parentheses around the negative number. It's to separate it from the operation sign so that you don't get confused. So we've got -3 plus -7. So we start at 0. We're going to start at -3. So 1, 2, 3. We're walking backwards to -3. We're adding, so we're going to stay facing the same way. And then we're adding -7. So we're going to walk backwards to -7 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we get to -10. So -3 plus -7 equals -10. Another clue is we're adding a negative and a negative, and you know that a negative plus a negative should equal a negative. Adding rational numbers with different signs. Number 1, find -3 plus 2. Use a number line. So we start at 0, we need to get to -3. So we're going to walk backwards, 1, 2, 3 to -3. Now we're adding 2. So we're going to walk forwards because we're adding a positive number, 1, 2, and we land on -1. So -3 plus 2 equals -1. Number 2, find 8 plus -5. Well, here we're adding numbers with different signs, so we need to follow those steps. First, we're going to find the absolute value. So the absolute value of 8 is 8, and the absolute value of -5 is 5. The second thing we're going to do is subtract those absolute values. 8 subtract 5 gives us 3. And the third thing we're going to do is we're going to assign the sum the sign of the integer with the greater absolute value. So the greater absolute value here was 8, and in our original equation, 8 was a positive number, so our answer will also be positive. So 8 plus -5 equals 3. Similarly, over here we have find -9 plus 6. So first we're going to find the absolute value. The absolute value of -9 equals 9. The absolute value of 6 gives us 6. So we're going to subtract those absolute values. 9 subtract 6 gives us 3. The third thing we're going to do is we're going to assign the sum the sign of the integer with the greater absolute value. So -9 and 6. -9 had the greater absolute value, and in our original equation, it was a negative number, so our answer must also have a negative number. So -9 subtract 6 equals, -9 plus 6 equals -3. Let's try an application question. Suppose you enter your frog into a jumping contest. The judge records each jump. A jump toward the finish line is a positive number. A jump away from the finish line is a negative number. Your frog jumps 4 feet towards the finish line and 6 feet away. What is the result? So we've got 4 feet towards, that's going to be a positive number. We've got 6 feet away from the finish line, that's going to be a negative number. So we've got 4, positive 4, plus -6. So first of all, we're going to find the absolute values. The absolute value of positive 4 is 4. The absolute value of -6 is 6. So now we subtract. 6 take 4 is 2. So our equation of 4 plus -6 4 plus -6 is -2, because 6 had the greater absolute value, and it was a negative number in our original equation. So our answer also has a negative value.